living an exceptional life, living a good life begins, and I have learned this from Louise over and over and over again so strongly, really begins with loving yourself. And for some people it's quite a challenge. It takes practice and commitment. And there are very specific things you can do to help develop that warm and loving and comfortable and safe and exciting relationship with yourself. And it is the single most important investment we make, because when you love yourself, you allow good things into your life. You expect good things to come into your life.
Like you.
Oh, Lulu. So sweet.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So that's what we want for all of you. We want you to just be in this state of loving yourself so that you just draw to you beauty and love and abundance and good health and healing and all of the things that are rightfully ours, that are our natural state. And I love, you said, the last time we were teaching together, you said, you're living with yourself all day long, you might as well enjoy it.
Day after day, hour after hour, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year.
Lifetime after lifetime.
I mean, is it a great experience?
Yes.
Or do you dread tomorrow?
A tentative young woman approaches the microphone in the middle of a large conference hall. Eyes focused straight ahead, she's clearly intimidated by the hundreds of people surrounding her. As she gets close to the front of the room, however, her nerves are calmed by the presence of a stately, elegant woman standing on stage, ready to receive her question. Yesterday, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, the young woman explains once she's arrived at the mic, and I'm terrified. Attendees look to one another as the room becomes quiet. The young woman looks down at her hands, shifts her weight from side to side. I don't know what to do, and I know you understand what I'm going through. I'm hoping you can offer me some direction. The speaker closes her eyes for a moment, takes a deep breath, and then slowly makes her way to the side of the stage. As she descends the stairs, she walks towards the frightened young woman, holding her gaze with a warm, loving smile. The air in the room feels charged. Barely a person moves. The teacher stops and stares into the students' eyes. They hold each other's gaze for quite some time, and the young woman's shoulders soften. Tears slide down her cheeks. The elder woman speaks. Life loves you, dear one. Let's start there. She reaches out and takes the young woman's hand. The audience begins to applaud as Louise Hay, a beloved mentor to millions and a cancer survivor herself, explains, the thoughts we think have power, so you want to be very careful not to scare yourself with your thoughts. The student wipes tears from her eyes. Others in the room do too. I'd like to give you something that has helped me when I'm frightened and in need of a comforting thought, Louise continues. But first, she pulls a small object out of her pocket. Let's start with the mirror. I still remember that day when I watched as Louise held this young woman in the orbit of her healing energy. Louise was loving, focused, and present. For several minutes, she stood in front of this woman, staring into her eyes until we all felt the love. The power of her presence was palpable. As I watched Louise weave her magic, I flashed back to a memory of a conversation with my first coach many years earlier. He was discussing the future of coaching. One day, he said, we will no longer need words to provide the kind of support that will change a client's life. Our energy alone will do the trick. Now, here I was decades later, watching his prediction play out before me. I swear Louise was healing this woman with her presence alone. The path to having this kind of power is remarkably simple. It's what's required that's the hard part. You must make presence your top priority so you can claim agency over your busy mind. I'll say more about this at the end of the audio recording, but for now, please remember, we are created from consciousness, the unseen energy that animates all life. This consciousness, when well directed, will allow us to create more peace, prosperity, and love in the world. So the question is, who's in charge of your life? Is it you, or is it your mind? Your thoughts, words, and actions shape your destiny. Too often, we let the mind run the show, responding to the random thoughts that flood our system throughout the day. Louise didn't allow this to be the case in her life, and I'm doing my best to follow suit. This book is about learning to take back your power, and it was and continues to be our hope that this book inspires you to harness this power for good in your life too. In preparation for this recording, I went back through old email exchanges with Louise before, during, and after we wrote our book together. Boy, do I miss her. She was wise, funny, sharp as a tack, and deeply committed to walking her talk. She also loved helping people. Hay House has graciously allowed me to do something a bit different with this audio recording of You Can Create an Exceptional Life. As Louise's beautiful wisdom comes alive in the telling of this story, I'll be adding exercises to help you deepen the work. I'll also share a few thoughts and memories along the way. Okay, let's get started. Thank you for being here with me. Louise died peacefully in her sleep on August 30th, 2017, at the age of 90. She was and continues to be a bright light in this world. I have no doubt that she's still loving and supporting people from the other side. I know I feel her with me, and especially while recording this book. I'm now 65 years old, nearly a generation older than when we began working on this book, and I've learned a lot about life and aging and the power of affirmations. And yet, as I read these words to you, I have to say I'm reminded to pay closer attention to what I think, what I say, and what I do. It's a great reminder that our consciousness is powerful, and when we use it intentionally and with great care, we really can create extraordinary lives. As I've read through these pages, I can't help but think about how this book is a simple yet powerful manual for living well. Honestly, if you put to use the work we've outlined here, you won't need much else to dramatically improve the quality of your life. And you'll do something more. You'll build a powerful relationship with your soul, the part of you that is timeless and eternal, the part of you that never dies. Remember, we spend the first half of our lives developing an ego, constructing a personality, and that personality is constructed in reaction to the authority figures that raise us, that teach us, that help grow us up. If we're lucky, we spend the second half of our lives dismantling this personality so we can discover what's left behind. The real you, the essence of you. This is the place that Louise arrived at. Her powerful work was really a reflection of the important first step we all need to take in reclaiming our mind. Too many of us think we are our mind. We listen to the voice in our head and actually believe that it's us and that we have to listen to what it tells us. But Louise learned something very different, that her job was to tell it what to do, that she wasn't her mind. She was a soul in a physical body with this computer available to her, whose database only had past material, and so she was going to direct its use by inputting exactly what she wanted so that her life could unfold in the way that she wanted. This is what we're inviting you to do with the material in this book and with the exercises and the practices at the end. So please, remember, you are a beautiful soul. You have the right to direct your experience here on planet Earth. You have the privilege of directing your experience. And we do that with the thoughts we think first. So be sure to visit the exercise section of this book and take the time to do the meditations, the practices. Give yourself the gift of flooding this mind of yours, this beautiful mind of yours, with positive, healthy, hopeful, inspiring thoughts so that you can live the kind of extraordinary life that Louise lived and that I hope to continue living myself. There is a universal energy, a divine force that creates us, sustains us, connects us to one another, and works in cooperation with our thoughts, words, and actions to generate our life experiences. When we recognize and learn to work in partnership with this benevolent power, we become masters of our own destiny. The formula is simple. Think thoughts that make you feel good, make choices that make you feel good, and take actions that make you feel good. Then, surrender the outcome, trusting that life will bring you what you need to grow and be happy. This simple formula has radically improved the quality of my life, and it can improve yours too. When you use it and learn to trust it, life unfolds in miraculous ways. You'll be presented with extraordinary opportunities to make your life whole and to make a difference in the world. This book is one of my extraordinary opportunities. It was late afternoon as I sat down to have lunch with Reed Tracy, the CEO of Hay House. Reed and I have known each other for many years, and recently we'd been teaching a workshop for experienced professionals who wanted to learn how to expand their reach. Reed caught me off guard with an unexpected invitation. I've been thinking about your next project, and I wonder if you'd be interested in writing a book with Louise. I carefully placed my fork on the table next to my plate and looked up at him. Louise Hay? I asked with a mouthful of food and a worthy amount of surprise. Yes, he said with a smile, Louise Hay. Louise is considered one of the founders of the self-help movement and a pioneer in mind-body healing, and I'd known her for more than 20 years. Not personally in the beginning, but through her writing and speaking. Published in 1984, her book, You Can Heal Your Life, was one of the first to introduce the connection between physical ailments and their corresponding thought patterns and emotional issues. I knew that Louise's books have sold more than 50 million copies and that people from all over the world have been influenced by her work. As I sat staring at Reed, the phrase coming full circle popped into my head. Write with Louise Hay? My mind flashed back to our first meeting. It was the mid-1980s, and I was a young woman trying to find myself. You Can Heal Your Life was one of the first books to set me on my own healing path. As the years passed, our time together provided me with a refreshing look at someone who, even now at the age of 84, still practices diligently what she teaches. Louise is a beautiful example of what it means to think and speak your way to an exceptional life. Now, as I considered Reed's idea, my first thought was, this would be a unique opportunity to learn from a woman who has had such a vast impact on my life, as well as the lives of millions of others. It was a no-brainer. I'd write the book for the experience alone. There was more, however. My life was still being influenced in significant ways by the wisdom of Louise's work. Over the previous year, for instance, I'd maintained a daily practice inspired by her teachings on affirmations. Each morning, before starting my day, I'd write a few pages in my journal and finish with a list of spontaneous affirmations. I looked forward to this new ritual and was curious about how it might influence my life. No sooner had I embarked on this practice than I began to notice tangible changes. I felt better throughout the day. I had more enthusiasm for life. And I found it easier to shift my mind away from the things that irritated or upset me to thoughts that made me feel good. Not only that, but the longer I continued this daily practice, the more I was able to recognize deeper, more personal needs. Within months, I began to see patterns and themes in the affirmations I was creating. Certain ones would show up over and over again, alerting me to experiences I yearned to draw into my life. One in particular kept taking center stage. I work in creative collaboration with smart, inspiring people on projects that contribute to the healing of the world. At first, this affirmation surprised me. A lone ranger by nature, well, a control freak really. I preferred to be in charge and call all the shots. But this was becoming a lonely, less satisfying way to operate in the world. I was beginning to think more about working with others who challenged and inspired me rather than moving through life alone. Now, I watched as life made it clear it was paying attention. The power of focusing my energy was manifesting something new. As I thought more about Reed's invitation, I made a decision to walk through the open door before me. Yes, I would love to write a book with Louise, I told him. What's the next step? Weeks later, Louise and I met to discuss working together. We agreed that writing a book was a great idea, and we decided to do something only age and experience could inspire. Trust life. Rather than create an outline or follow some kind of organized plan, she and I would allow the book to reveal itself. And reveal itself it did. While attending events throughout North America and Europe, Louise and I enjoyed a series of intimate, heart-to-heart conversations about the spiritual principles that have shaped our lives. Although I've written the book from my point of view, it reflects our collaborative experience of talking about everything from loving ourselves and our bodies to the ways in which we've dealt with a variety of topics, including aging and a dignified, peaceful approach to the end of our lives here on Earth. It is our sincere wish that these conversations inspire you to develop the spiritual habits that will support you in living an exceptional life. As you do, you'll soon discover what Louise and I know to be the most important universal truth of all. Life loves you. So, I say to Louise, your healing involved a holistic process of working with the body, the mind and its thoughts, and the emotions? Yes. 6 months later, I went back to the doctor and the cancer was gone. Gone. At that point, my inner ding, my intuition, was telling me it was gone, but I still wanted medical confirmation. Once I had it, I felt that anything could be healed if you're willing to do the work. I appreciated Louise's acknowledgement that the healing of her cancer was a holistic process, a process that involved her mind, body, and emotions, not simply relying on thinking good thoughts to make the cancer go away. No, she said, it's everything. If you put yourself in a position where you know you can be healed, the right help will come to you. Then you have to be willing to do the work, all of it. What does it take to put yourself in a position to attract what you need to heal? I asked her. You first need to change your thinking about the problem. We all have ideas about healing and how things should and shouldn't work. We need to shift our thinking from it can't be done to it can be done. I just have to figure out how. I've always said that the word incurable means that it can't be cured by any outer means at the moment. So we need to go within. That, of course, would mean changing your thinking. You also need to develop self-worth. You need to believe that you're worthy of being healed. If you can develop that as a strong belief and affirmation, then life will bring you what you need to manifest the healing. So if someone were listening to this right now and dealing with their own health crisis, what kind of affirmations might you suggest to get them in the right state of mind? I'd start with these, Louise tells me. I love myself and I forgive myself. I forgive myself for allowing my anger, fear, resentment, whatever it might be, to harm my body. I deserve to be healed. I am worthy of being healed. My body knows how to heal itself. I cooperate with my body's nutritional needs. I feed my body delicious, healthy foods. I love every inch of my body. I see cool, clear water flowing through my body and washing away all impurities. My healthy cells grow stronger every day. I trust life to support my healing in every way. Every hand that touches my body is a healing hand. My doctors are amazed by how quickly my body is healing. Every day, in every way, I am growing healthier and healthier. I love myself. I am safe. Life loves me. I am healed and whole. We are powerful, creative beings who determine our future with every thought we think and every word we speak. This is the first thing Louise says when I turn on the voice recorder at the start of our next session. We're sitting opposite each other, stretched out on a long window seat in my hotel room, overlooking the city of Toronto below. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon. As I consider Louise's remarks, I realize that, at its core, this message is one of the most important. In our purest, most positive state of mind, we are powerful creators of our very best lives. When we think good thoughts, we feel good. When we feel good, we make good choices. When we feel good and make good choices, we draw more good experiences into our lives. It really is that simple, and elegant, and true. Science tells us that energy waves are the, quote, stuff of the universe, and that every breath we take and every thought we think has a direct effect on something or someone in it. The chair I sit on, the keyboard I use to write, the beautiful magnolia tree outside my window are all made of energy. The speed with which an object vibrates determines the density of the form. This energy is directly influenced by the thoughts we think, the words we speak, and the actions we take. These thoughts, words, and actions produce feelings, and our feelings become the currency with which we purchase our life experiences. As Louise and I talk about the ways in which our thoughts influence our lives, I become even more aware of how significant and powerful this idea really is. So much of what we both believe, teach, and practice in our own lives is based on a concept that is still seen by many as far-fetched, new age, or simplistic at best. For a moment, I imagine myself searching the web, my personal library, or the minds of my colleagues in the scientific community for solid evidence to back up our ideas. But then I remember I don't do that anymore. I no longer defend the spiritual principles that have guided and shaped my life. They work, and I know it. Louise and I both know it. You are an extraordinary spiritual machine. Right now, there are more than 50 trillion cells in your body, all working together, enabling you to listen to this sentence. Your cells don't argue, they don't question how things work, and they don't engage in a debate about who's smarter or more efficient. They align together in beautiful harmony to allow the machine called your body to function at its highest possible level at any given moment. What a miracle! This same kind of harmonious interplay takes place in our outer world, too. Every day, our creative currency of thoughts, words, actions, and feelings are working in divine cooperation with the energy of the universe to create our lives. By focusing our energy in a positive way, we are far more likely to generate good experiences. It's really that simple. Staking claim to this creative power and using your energy wisely can be challenging at first. After all, most of us have been trained to live in fear and to think and act defensively, looking for what doesn't work, what might go wrong, or what isn't good about our lives. You need only watch a few minutes of the news or read the headlines of a newspaper or website to see where the collective focus lies. Discover the danger lurking in your drinking water. The economy takes another dive. 10 reasons to keep your kids in full view. These nonstop fear-inducing messages can affect you in ways you're not even aware of. And over time, you may actually find yourself drawn to negative news stories, conversations filled with useless drama, and repetitive harmful thoughts. Once this cycle starts, it doesn't stop by itself. You have to be vigilant about making good choices and thinking good thoughts, substituting good for bad at every turn on every road. Immersing yourself in this fearful, depressing energy perpetuates negativity. For example, you might become obsessed with the latest reality program that shows people at their worst and begin to find yourself surrounded by individuals who are always in some kind of crisis. Or you may get pulled into drama at work and begin contributing to the problem by gossiping or complaining about what isn't working in your own life. Without realizing it, we develop patterns of thought and behavior that direct our radio transmitter to search for and emit negative signals that only create more negativity and difficult experiences in our lives. And these patterns can become deeply personal. Every day we can end up stuck in a negative loop, constantly labeling ourselves as defective, bad, or unworthy. As Louise explains to me now, when you hate yourself, say mean things to yourself, tell yourself how ugly you are, or hide from a mirror, you start to feel really uncomfortable. You don't feel good at all. You won't enjoy anything in your day, and very little good will come to you. But when you do something as simple as look in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself, even when it's hard to do or you don't believe it, your energy shifts. Then, as you go through your day, you feel better and attract better circumstances. That's when silly things happen, like getting a parking space when there usually are none to be found, or encountering green lights at every turn. I wonder where it all begins. How have we become so out of touch with this power to shape our lives, I ask Louise. As children, we are brought up from day one responding to the words stop or no, she replies. They're some of the first words we hear. It has become normal, although it's not natural, for us to be more focused on what we can't do, what we're not allowed to do, and the limiting beliefs that hold us back, rather than on our true magnificent potential. I've spent the morning walking around Covent Garden in London. It's an early fall day and the street performers and artisans are setting up shop, preparing for the crowds. I adore London. I love the diversity, the kind and gracious people, and the scrumptious variety of fashion, food, shops, and cafes. Louise and I are here for an event, and we're scheduled to meet in the afternoon to continue our work on this book. I'm so looking forward to it. In the short amount of time we've been meeting, my life has already been affected in such a positive way. I'm more mindful of my thoughts throughout the day, for instance, and the time it takes for me to catch myself when I start ruminating about something unpleasant is getting shorter and shorter. I'm also weighing my choices, both personal and professional, to see whether or not I feel good once a decision is made. If it doesn't feel good, no is becoming an automatic response. How wonderful to be growing and learning while writing a book. When I knock on Louise's hotel room door, she greets me with her sparkling blue eyes and a big smile. I feel instantly welcomed. We chat about the morning and then get down to business. I nestle into a spot on the floor in front of the coffee table, tap on the recorder, and begin our session by asking Louise what's on her mind. We must teach people how to begin their day, she replies with intense determination. The first hour of the morning is crucial. How you spend it will determine your experience for the rest of your day. And remember those alarm clocks? Back then, it was a game to see how long I could stay in bed before dragging myself out to go to work. I didn't like my life much, and I certainly didn't look forward to going to my job. Now, as I sit here with Louise, I think about the millions of men and women who hit the snooze button every day or greet the morning with dread. I wince as I think about the energetic message this sends out into the world. I don't want to wake up. I hate where I'm going today. Or I'd rather go back to sleep than get up and face my crummy life. Thoughts like these just bring people more of the same. It's a game changer when you realize that how you start your day sets in motion a pattern of thinking that determines your experiences all day long. I have this little routine I've done for years. The moment I wake up, I snuggle my body a little more into the bed, feel the feeling of the bed, and thank it for a really good night's sleep. I do this for a few minutes as I start my day with positive thoughts. I tell myself things like, this is a good day. This is going to be a really good day. Then I get up, use the bathroom, and thank my body for working well. I spend a little time stretching. I have a bar in the doorway of the bathroom that I hang from. I bring my knees up to my chest 3 times and then hang from it. I find that hanging in the morning is a very good thing. I imagine Louise hanging from a bar in her bathroom doorway, and in my mind, I start walking around my house looking for the perfect place to hang a bar too. The idea sounds like a lot of fun to me. After I do a few stretches, she continues, I make a cup of tea and take it back to bed. I love my bed. I've had the headboard specially built at an angle so I can lean up against it when I read or write. I've carried this headboard with me for years. It's an example of something I've done to make my bedroom special and comfortable, a sanctuary. It's a lovely place to be. What else makes your bedroom special? I ask her. That I'm in it, Louise quickly replies with a wide, childlike grin. As we both laugh, I'm tempted to walk over and pinch the cheek of the little girl I see in those twinkling eyes. But I quickly restrain my own inner kid and allow her to continue. When I've gone back to bed, I then do a bit of spiritual reading. I usually have a few things I'm reading at one time. I interrupt for a moment to find out what she's currently enjoying. Well, I keep my book, Heart Thoughts, with me because it's easy to read a few short passages in one sitting. I also have Alan Cohen's A Deep Breath of Life nearby. And right now I'm rereading Florence Scovel Shinn's The Game of Life and How to Play It. It's a very good book. If there's time after relaxing and reading, I might do a crossword puzzle. I stretch my body and then I stretch my mind. It's a morning ritual. Then I start to get up. Louise's morning routine sounds like the perfect way to begin the day, and I wonder how much time it takes. I try to give myself 2 hours before I face people. I like to be able to do things in a leisurely way, she tells me. I've learned to take my time. I might sit in bed and think about what I'm going to have for breakfast, something delicious and good for my body, something I'll really enjoy. If there's an important activity that I'm going to do that day, I make sure to do a lot of positive affirmations around it. And I always do them in the present tense, as if the situation is already occurring. For example, if I have an interview, I tell myself, I know this is a wonderful interview. It is an easy flow of ideas between myself and the other person. The person is very glad for the information I give them. Everything goes smoothly and effortlessly, and both of us are pleased. I'm amazed by Louise's ability to be positive and so upbeat. By now, we've spent enough time together for me to see that her disposition is consistent. This woman clearly lives in a positive world of her own making. Because this is so unusual, I can't help but wonder if she ever feels bad. So, as she wraps up the description of her morning ritual, I ask, do you ever have a bad day, wake up in a bad mood, or feel depressed? Louise takes her time to carefully consider my question before responding. Not much anymore, she finally says. I've been practicing a long time, Cheryl, and I have good habits in place. It's all about the practice. We decide to take a break, but as we chat, I keep the recorder running just in case. Good thing. We both realize that by inviting people to stop and think about how they behave during routine moments of the day, what they say to themselves as they go through these rituals of living, we're tapping into a valuable process for reprogramming the subconscious mind. Every day, in little ways, we deepen the groove of habitual thoughts that directly influence the quality of our lives by what we think and say to ourselves on a regular basis. The more we shift our internal monologue to language that serves a better life, the better our lives become. It's the little daily rituals that give us the most chance for change. Too many people think you need to go somewhere to quietly focus on affirmations, Louise explains. But we're doing affirmations all the time. Everything we think and say to ourselves is an affirmation. We need to be conscious of what we're saying and thinking all the time so that life can get better. She then offers examples of questions we need to consider. What's the first thing you say to yourself when you wake up in the morning? What do you think about while in the shower, when shaving? What do you say to yourself as you pick out your clothes, get dressed, put on makeup, or dry your hair? What are you saying to your family as you make breakfast or get the children ready for school? These are all moments that can be put to good use. Even 10 minutes can make a difference. Louise agrees. We need to start somewhere, she tells me. If you're a busy mom or dad who needs to get the children ready for school, or if you have to get to work early, it's still important to give yourself some time to start your day off in the right way. I would rather wake up earlier to have this extra time in the morning. Even if you only give yourself 10 or 15 minutes, that's good. It's your time for self-care. This is absolutely necessary. I haven't always had the time I do now, she continues. We begin with small steps. When you get up, it's important to do a ritual that feels good to you, to say something to yourself that makes you feel good. Life loves me is a good start. It's a very comfortable thing to say. Then make sure what you eat for breakfast is comforting, something delicious and good for you. Nourish your body with a good morning meal, and nourish your mind with good, comforting thoughts. Right out of bed, we can all use the power of affirmations to set up the day in the best possible way. Here are a few examples of what you can say to yourself as you go through the morning. When you first wake up and open your eyes, good morning, bed. Thank you for being so comfortable. I love you. Darling, this is a blessed day. All is well. I have time for everything I need to do today. When you're looking in the bathroom mirror, say good morning to yourself and use your name. Good morning. I love you. I really, really love you. There are great experiences coming our way today. You look wonderful. You have the best smile. Your makeup or hair looks perfect. You are my ideal woman or man. We are having a terrific day today. I love you dearly. So yes, we tear ourselves down far too much, and that's the voice of someone else we heard when we were children, Louise tells me. So when we are critical with ourselves like that, it's usually the voice of the internalized parent, the guardians or the authority figures from our past who projected their own fear or self-hatred onto us. Many of us grew up hearing about what we didn't do right, for example, or we've been taught to protect ourselves by minimizing our talents and gifts to avoid being told, "You're getting a big head." The practice of promoting growth with constant criticism is universal, and we end up taking these harsh voices in and then making them our own. Our parents did the same thing, by the way. These critical voices are generational, and the truth is that by listening to and obeying them, we stop ourselves from expressing our full potential. This is why you need to be your own best cheerleader, Louise says. You can't expect other people to do it. If you're a cheerleader for yourself, it's easier to try new things. Well, there's another really important story I want to share with you here at this point, because one of the scariest things that I've ever done in my life, and most people will say it's pretty scary, is getting up on stage and speaking in front of an audience. And all of that changed for me after a conversation with my dear friend and colleague, Debbie Ford. Debbie Ford and I were speaking at a conference, and I had heard her give her talk in the morning, and she did a brilliant job, and we were having lunch together. My talk was scheduled for the afternoon, and during lunch, I said to her, you did such a brilliant job. You looked so comfortable. How can I get over my fear of worrying about what other people think so I can be more relaxed and comfortable on stage? Because, I dread it before I get on stage. While I'm on stage, once I get going, I do okay. But if I slip up in any way, I start to get critical of myself. And I'm just so fed up with worrying about what everybody else thinks. And Debbie turned to me and she said, "Oh, sweetheart, you're not worried about what everybody else thinks. You're worried about what you think. And you're worried about how you're going to beat yourself up the moment you get off stage by remembering all the things that you said that you wished you didn't say, or the things you didn't say that you wished you did say." She said, "The way you're going to get comfortable with public speaking or doing anything that puts you out there in the world is by becoming your own greatest champion." I have to tell you, that piece of advice from her was revelatory. It changed everything. I created a new affirmation for myself, and you'll probably laugh at this, and Louise would not approve of this, but I'm sure she wouldn't. But my new affirmation was, even if I suck, I'll love myself anyway. You said that the secret to your success at 84 has to do with loving yourself and your body. But what if you're a woman who's 50 pounds overweight and hates what she sees in the mirror? How do you look at yourself and say, "I love you," when you don't like what you see? Now, dear listener, pay attention to what Louise says here, because it's very important. "Well, that's the point of what we're doing," Louise replies. "As I've said before, I no longer believe in working on a single issue. In the early days, I worked with individual problems like weight loss. Then, one day I discovered that if I could get clients to love themselves, we didn't have to work on problems anymore. Self-love was the core issue for everybody and everything. And that's a difficult realization for a lot of people to accept or acknowledge, that it could actually be that simple. This woman you're talking about might think her issue is weight, but it isn't her issue at all. It's self-hatred. If we get to the bottom of that, or get her to start consistently practicing affirmations that will support her in building a good relationship with her body, it will begin the process of self-love. I can see tears spring to Louise's eyes as she begins this story, and it's my turn to hunt for a tissue. "We said all the wonderful things we would have said at his funeral to his face," she tells me. "It was a beautiful experience for us all. We wanted to make it a peaceful, loving, and comforting time for him, and we did." What a beautiful ritual, I say, as I look into her eyes. I used to do this silly thing with all of the guys, she tells me. I would talk about reincarnation and tell them that I would look for them again in the faces of babies. I used to mimic what I would do. Is that you, David Solomon? Is that you in there? Have you come back to see us? You look so cute. And they would all laugh and laugh. I too laugh out loud as she relives this story. Then I ask if she feels as if working with these men with AIDS was some of her most fulfilling work. It was incredible. It was incredible, she repeats. Astrologically, that's when Pluto went over my sun, a time when most people struggled terribly because there were all sorts of lessons about death. But I got the ultimate lesson. I was so busy dealing with the men that I didn't have any time to worry about myself. And the simpler I was and the less I did, the more they would tell me what a wonderful meeting it was. Sometimes I would just sit there, do a little opening prayer and meditation, choose someone to speak, and when they were done, choose someone else. And at the end of the meeting, we would do healing triads. Someone would lie down, and then one person would sit at the head and another at the feet, touching the body of the person in front of them, while I led a meditation with music. And then we'd switch so everyone got a chance to receive the love. The simple things meant the most to them. Are there affirmations you've used for dealing with death? I ask her. Yes, we want to use those that deal with belief systems about what's on the other side. It's important to notice whether there is a frightened little kid inside who remembers hell and damnation. We need to do affirmations to heal those beliefs so that death won't be as frightening. Louise offers some that she's used over the years. At the end of this lifetime, I look forward to being reconnected with my loved ones on the other side. I make my journey to the other side with joy and ease and peace in my heart. I am so excited to see loved ones at the end of this journey. I see only love and peace on the other side of this stage of life. Only good lies before me. I am safe, and I am loved. It's easier to go if you feel comforted, Louise says. If you go feeling that it's going to be a good thing, then you're not terrified. And since we don't know what's on the other side, I say, that's right, Louise tells me, no one knows. We have people who have very strong beliefs who will tell us what is true, but no one really knows. We want to encourage people to think about and prepare for the end of their lives in a comforting way. It doesn't matter what age we are, this is important to do. I could outlive the people I've chosen to care for me, and then I'm sure that life would give me another option. I've been rescued from lots of things. I might have gone through shit, but I was always saved. Why do you think that is, I ask her. Well, I suppose there's a possibility that it's because I had important work ahead of me, so I always came out of a scrape. I've always been the kind of person who takes risks. After all, when you reach out to life, life always seems to reach back. Louise certainly does reach out to life. At the end of what I imagined to be our last meeting, I walk back to my room feeling full of love and deep admiration for this life-changing experience. How blessed I am to have spent so much time with such an extraordinary woman. As I slide my key down through the hotel room lock, I know my life will never be the same. I also know something else deep in my bones. Life certainly does love me. Several days later, after returning home from our trip to Vancouver and reviewing my notes, I think about how I might end this book. Rather than struggle to find the right words, I surrender and allow the perfect ending to find me. The answer comes a few days later in the form of an email from Louise. It's a letter she's found from years ago, sent to a young man who is dying of AIDS. It couldn't be a more perfect ending. Dearest one, here are some thoughts I have about the perfectly normal, natural process of leaving the planet, a process we will all go through. The more peaceful we can be with this experience, the easier it will be. Here's what I know. We are always safe. It is only change. From the moment we are born, we are preparing to be embraced by the light once more. Position yourself for maximum peace. Angels surround you. They are guiding you each step of the way. However you choose your exit will be perfect for you. Everything will happen in the perfect time-space sequence. This is a time for joy and for rejoicing. You are on your way home, as we all are.